Okay, so here's the the court docket. Date of offense 4/19/2008. Domestic abuse battery. Victim was present in court. Victim stated that she lied to Shreveport Police Department and was charged with filing a false report. And there's the seal to show that's official. Here's my sister's obituary, sunset April 19, 2008. Now, what kind of person would lie and send their husband to jail the day that his sister died? Someone who was a Leo that I took them out to visit California, and she met personally. What kind of person does that? So this was a picture of my son's abandoned car, stepson, that his mother left in Shreveport after she kidnapped my kids. And I told her I sent text messages to Trey that went unanswered and explained to him that I had the car. And after he came back from basic training, Danielle orchestrated a trip to my uncle's and had Trey try and take the car. The license plate had been stolen, and I tried to talk to him before he eventually ran over me because I stood in front of the car because I had items inside. Danielle called the cops, and the police overreacted. I ended up being taken to jail and spent 10 days there. It was so bad that after I notified Internal Affairs of the policeman's abuse of power, Internal Affairs covered everything up, which had been caught on videotape by the property surveillance. Danielle had my baby in her arms and Hunter by her side as they watched the cops commit battery on me, acting like she was scared. Okay, so this is my booking report that happened 10/25/09, and I basically kept this. So I was booked with simple battery, public intimidation, resisting an officer, and theft, because basically I had taken my son's car out of the son's cell phone out of the vehicle and tossed it and told him to go fetch just so I wouldn't hurt him because he had ran over me with a vehicle. And then, like I said, resisting an officer is a bogus charge. Bullshit. So what I did is I filed a complaint, Shreveport Police Department Internal Affairs complaint affidavit, and I explained to them I was kicked in the stomach while in handcuffs and cooperating. D. Ware failed to investigate me being run over by Jabor Daniels, my stepson, and Shreveport Jail lacks inadequate medical attention. I had cuts all over my body because of me breaking the front windshield in an attempt to get Trey to stop because I was on the front hood driving whenever he tried to speed up. And I had to bust out the front windshield just to get him to stop because he wasn't stopping and I wasn't going to jump off the vehicle with bad knees at that speed. All right, so finished and I launched the complaint. And what they did was they gave it to an investigator who was out on vacation. Coincidentally, the 45 days that the camera surveillance held the footage. And actually, one of the policemen came to the Peach Street apartments and took the video from the manager. She told me. She appeared in court. So after the Internal Affairs, gave me unfounded, and I had to write to the Civil Board, and Internal Affairs appeal. I was initially hoping that the Internal Affairs investigation would be able to obtain the video surveillance from the Cooper Road Plaza, which caught the majority of every major incident that had occurred. When I first spoke to Sergeant G. Jones about my complaint, he suggested that I get it as soon as possible so the evidence would not be lost. I repeatedly informed him, Lieutenant Glover, Sergeant Jones, Sergeant Greer, and Sergeant Deal about the video, but when Sergeant Deal finally got in the office to view my complaint, evidence was lost. I was hoping to be able to go before the board in my appeal and explain my case. All I'm seeking is justice, but I am finding corruption and cover-up. Initially, I just wanted the officers to privately be reprimanded, but as things progress, I'm noticing a greater problem. So eventually I went before the Civil Service Board, and they found that I had a civil case. Okay, I can't recall what I was saying because the gentleman started talking in the background. But this is a letter while I was in jail, those 10 days that I wrote. While tending to my shoulder wounds, female officer instructed me to put on my coveralls. I had the top down and asked for dressings for my wounds. She instructed me to put overalls on, or she'd send me to segregation, seg. I requested dressing for my wounds. Officer told me the doctor has to prescribe dressings. I then asked to speak to the lieutenant. The officer told me no. Pulled me out and read me what the doctor had written in his report. An inmate was called for release. The guard, Lofton, started yelling and cursing him out, calling him a motherfucker because he missed the guard that was taking him to the front for release. I spoke with Lieutenant about my doctor visit Friday. I explained that I had went Wednesday to see Doc. She sent me back to LSU to get stitches. I also explained that I received a mox potassium against my request and wanted to know my bill. I also explained that the only reason I visited him Friday was to find out why I had not been sent back to LSU. She listened but has not gotten back to me. All right, 150. Guard called Whitehurst to see if he wanted his mom to visit. I asked if he had to fill out kite, and he told me no. I'm not sure what that was about. Just all the different issues that was going on. I was just trying to find out information. November 1st, 4:30 p.m. I noticed Miss Brown signs for people when giving out medicine when Meshack and Hall have the people sign for their own initials. I've asked Lieutenant L. Adams, Jones, and Brown for a copy of what I am being charged for. Spoke with Hogg about medication. I asked them to stop my meds Friday, but my name is still called. And then I went on to this side, and it says Alan Jasper went before Judge Thursday and was to be released at 12:01 Friday morning. It was Saturday, and he still had not been released. Each person does roll call differently. Most like Brown, Lofton, and the big female guard that told me no to the bandages, lacking professionalism and gave straight attitude, adding to the problem.